Hi, I'm Justin Kirk, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can freeze any object in Unity like this. And then I'm also going to show you how you can blow up the object into ice pieces. And then I might also show how you can pick up an item and add it to your character if I have time. If you see, I don't really have a lot of subscribers yet, so if you see anything in this video that you're liking, like maybe the snow or some of the textures or the attacks or anything like that, definitely let me know in the comments and I'll go ahead and make a video for anything in the video actually. If you want a tutorial in it, let me know and I'll do that. But anyway, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is make a shader for the ice. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna add a sphere to the game because you're probably not gonna have any of these game objects in your game. So we're just gonna right click and create a 3D object. It's gonna be a sphere. And mine needs to be really big because my scale is really big, but you'll probably get away with a scale of like 111 maybe. So then after you've created the sphere, you can right click in the folder at the bottom and just create a material. And we'll call this ice material tutorial. And you could go ahead and drag that onto the sphere. And then if you right click at the bottom, just make a new shader graph, URP lit shader graph. And then we'll call this ice shader tutorial. Perfect. So then in the material, if you go to the shader drop down at the top, you can just type in ice shader tutorial or whatever you call it, doesn't matter. And then we just need to edit the shader. So if you double click on the shader, it should open up in a new tab. I'm just gonna drag this so it takes up. So the first thing you wanna do is make it transparent. Okay, and then just change the depth right to force enabled. So just in the blackboard, go ahead and add this vector 2. This is gonna be ice tiling. And just put this far over to the left because you're gonna need a lot of room for the shader graph. And you can just drag it in and then drag this into a tiling and offset node, obviously to the tiling. And you can just set the default value to like 1 and 1 for now, it's fine. Okay, so now we need a texture for the snow material. So if you go on Google, you can type in snow texture seamless. And if you do this, you'll get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of images that are available. Just go ahead and pick any of them. It doesn't really matter. Just pick the one that you like the best. And then we need to add that as a texture. So click the plus button here and click texture 2D. And then you could just leave the name as texture 2D. It's fine. And then for me, mine's this texture. Like I said, you could just use a texture from the internet. It doesn't matter. So then you'll drag that into the shader. And then this is going to be the normal. So you could just drag this into a normal from texture node. And then we want to have the normal strength as a value so that we can edit the strength in the inspector. So just go and make a float called normal strength. And you could just drag this in here and put it to the strength of the normal. And you could just put the default value back. So just make it like 5 or something, it doesn't matter. We're going to change this after anyway, so it's not really that important. So then this can also get, oh my god, we're already over this far, crap. This can also get put into a sample texture 2D node. So not the UV, but the actual texture. Oh, that's why we need to put it from here. Yeah. And then defaults tangent, yeah, that's right. So the tiling and offset node can go into the UV of the sample texture 2D node. And then we need a screen position node. So screen position, and then we'll put this into a multiply node, and then the sample texture 2D can be multiplied by this, and then this will go into an add node, and then we'll add the screen position back to this, and then this can go into a node. I'll just put it as A. So then the B value is going to be the output of the add, and the T value is going to be the refraction amount. So we need to create another float called refraction amount, and we'll put that into the T node of the lerp node. So then the output of this could go into a scene color node, yeah, like that. And the scene color can go into an add node, and then the sample texture 2D node can go into this node. Oh my god, there's so much crap already, Jesus. Okay, so then this add node can go into a multiply node as the B value. And then we need a color, like the ice color. So just create a color, we can call this ice color. And you can drag it in and put it to the A node. Now, ice color should be HDR, so you'll be able to make it glow. And you can just set a default value to like white for now, but we're obviously gonna change it in the inspector after. And then we're gonna need a Fresnel effect. So that way there can be like a border to the ice. So create a Fresnel effect. And then we need a Fresnel power node, so just float Fresnel power and this can go into the 1, and then this can go into a multiply node, and then we need a Fresnel color as well. So it's the same kind of thing where you just make a color in the whiteboard and drag it in. Make sure it's HDR again, because we want to be able to make this glow if we want to. And you can default it to white as well. Okay, so then finally we're gonna add these two together. And the output of this is gonna go into the base color. So then the normal from texture is gonna go into the normal. See if I can connect these from here. Okay, and then we need another thing. So we need metallic. We'll just make a float for that. And then we also want the smooth. That way we can control these in the inspector too. Okay, so if you've done this correctly, you should have an ice texture now. Let me just go ahead and dock this so it's not blocking the game view. Okay, so after you're done this, you have to drag the texture into the texture field. It won't be there by default. So when you click on your, material, you'll have to set all these settings again. So this is what I have so far. Normal strength, maybe just the higher you make it, the more like bumpy it will be. So this depends on like the size of your object. You can just leave this out, like maybe 3 is good for now. Refraction amount, this is how much light it reflects. So just do 100, 1, 2, I don't know, maybe 10. Change the ice color to like white, and the Fresnel power can be like 0.5, and the Fresnel color can be like kind of bluey. Now we don't have a scene at all, so let me just turn back on this scene, and we're just gonna take the boss out of the scene for now, and we'll just put it into this boss room folder so it doesn't get turned on or whatever. And then we just change this to room 12. I already did that. Okay, and then I'll move this sphere into room 12. So this is our test boss that we're fucking around with, so let's drag it in here. And I'm gonna set all of the textures in the boss to be this snow texture that we just made. So let's go ahead and delete this sphere. So you can still use the sphere if you want. This is just like, I'm just obviously gonna demonstrate this on my character that I've made. You probably won't have this character, so you can just do this on anything. If you've made a character for your game, I'm sure you have, you can put it on your character, or you can put it on any object. Okay, and let's put it on the staff as well, hang on. Okay, so this should be bluer, and then this should be white, and then we'll turn off the intensity here, and we'll turn it on here. There we go, perfect. So this is exactly what we're looking for. So let me get rid of this sphere. Like I said, you can use this sphere if you want to, because if you don't have a game object to test with, like you could just use a game object that's built in, but I would recommend doing this to like a character, otherwise there's not really any point to this. So we need actually 2 materials. So we need one that's gonna be the flash material, and then she freezes over time. So to make it transition over time, you need the materials to be using the same shader. So it has to go to ice and then to a different color of ice, which I'll show you. So we need to create another copy of this material, and we'll call this ice material pre-death. And then this one's gonna be brighter. And this is actually going to be what the default is for her. So once you have material that you like for the, like this is what she looks like when she's dead. When she finishes dying, this is what she's going to look like, completely frozen in white or whatever, right? But this is before she actually finishes dying. This is like the color, like she flashes and then she dies. And this cloud of ice goes around her. And actually, let me put that around the boss. Actually, it's already there. So for this one, I just got this from the internet using a style sheet. So if you look online, there's like all of these free textures right on the Unity website that you can just get it from this website here. And I think it was one of these clouds that I stole, and I just put a blue tint on it. So in the demo folder, we'll right click and just create a material, and we'll call this smoke sheet, which is fine. We want this to be particle or lit particles. That's the wrong one. Additive. And then we want that texture sheet that we just found online, which is, I can't remember which one it is, but all of these smoke ones will work, or it's one of these cloud ones is the one we're looking for. So then you just have to drag this into the, so under smoke sheet, change this to transparent, and then change this to additive, and then change this back to multiply, and then put this disk smoke thing, this is what you can download from that website, into this. And then from here you can right click on your object, which is the sphere, or it could be whatever game object you have, make a particle system. We'll just call this smoke tutorial. And then at the bottom in the renderer you can drag this material on top of the material, and then in the texture sheet animation you can change this to be the height and the width, so it's 4 tall and 16 wide. So in the particle system you'll put 4 in the Y and 16 in the X, and then the start size can be 30, start lifetime could be 4, 5 and 30. Start rotation can be negative 360 and 360, and then the emission can just be a burst of 150. So let's hit play on this. Oh, and then the color can be blue, just a blue color. And then at the very bottom in the order and layer, just change this to 2 so it appears over top of everything. And then in the shape, change it to a sphere. And then just move it up so it's on her face, like above her. Oh, the scale's ×5. Okay, I see. Oh my god, that took forever. Okay, so the scale is, I have it ×5. That's better. So that's why it's so big. Okay, got it. So I'm just gonna delete this because this isn't my real boss. So I'm gonna delete that. So if you follow this correctly, you should have this cool smoky aura that can appear. And this can block out the transition as well, so it's less noticeable, like that you're just changing from one ice color to another, to make it seem more realistic, like it's going from an actual material to the ice material. So you actually need 2 ice materials. So there's the first one, which we've already made, which is this ice tutorial material. And then there's the pre-death material, which is going to be like a lighter shade of blue, so he flashes blue and then it turns into this frozen ice. So let's set that up. So we need to set that as the default. So let's go ahead and do that. So all of these should be changed to pre-death. And just do this to the staff as well, because we want the staff to freeze as well. So then we need to change the pre-death color to be something blue, so it's like really flash. So like, let's do like this, and then like white, and then the blue can just be like a glowy kind of kaboom flash. Maybe we'll leave this as white, and we'll turn this to blue. So then when you play this with the smoke as well, it really makes it stand out, and then we'll have it go from this material to the other one. So let's set up the code for this. So in our boss, we're just gonna delete the enemy script that I already have, and we're gonna add a new script. So let's create a script here, ice death script. Okay, so in the ice death script, we need to put in the skin mesh renderers for both of like the staff and the ice queen that we have. Or if you're using a different object, you just need to add the renderer for the object that you're trying to transition between the 2 materials. So we'll just enter serialized field skinned mesh renderer, and then this will be body, and then we need another one of these for the staff. Okay, so then after you're done with that, you just have to go into your object that has the script attached to it. Didn't I remove this script? Tell me I didn't do it on this one. No, I didn't. Okay, good. Oh, I must have removed the loot script instead, so let me just remove this one. So then we need to take the head, which is where I have my skin mesh renderer for like his main body, and then the staff, we'll drag it in there as well. So now in our code we have a reference to both of the skin mesh renderers. So in the update, we'll just make this fixed update instead. If input.getKey, we'll just put F. Okay, so then the next thing that we need inside of this is we need to actually add the material that we want to change it to. So the start material and the material that we're changing it to. So we'll have material So then back in here, we'll just drag in our material. So we get the pre-death material, which is this huge glowy flashy one. And then we have the tutorial material where it's just a frozen version of the material. So when we press the key code F, it will change everything to this material. So if you had different materials, like the default materials on this, this will change everything to the materials. So let me set this up, hang on. M is the pre-death material. Okay, so the first thing it's doing is setting this material, so this flashy, glowy material. So now what we're gonna do is change all of her materials back to the default ones that came with her. Because when you kill her, she should be turning from the normal material into this, right? So let me just change it back. Okay, so I've reset all of my materials to the default materials, right? So this would be like, let's say you have a character that's like just a normal character. He has a normal skin, like he's just got like a black skin or anything like that, right? We're gonna set all of the materials to the ice material, right? Like the flashy one, and then it'll slowly turn into the white ice material. So this should work on any character. So let's set this, and then over time we need to change it to. So this will set it to the flash material when we click F. Here, I'll show you one sec. So this just changes it to the flash material. Now we should be, I'm just gonna get rid of these particle systems because they're not relevant. And the smoke tutorial should not be playing on awake. And we're gonna have to actually add that to this. So we'll do a serialized field, which is gonna be the particle system smoke yes. And when we do that, we'll just want to do smoke yes.play. So back in the boss, we'll drag this particle system onto the smoke PS. Okay, so then we need this code routine, which changes him to frozen. So it waits half a second, so you can see the other material for half of a second. And then over this period of time, it will change the materials from the first material, which is that flashy blue material, to the solid, like non-shiny, dead ice material, I guess. So you can lerp between materials. Material has like a lerp function built into it. And basically what lerp does is it changes from the first material to the second material. And then the interval, so I, is just a time between 0 and 1. So 0 would be the beginning material, and 1 would be the completely changed material. So if you had 0.5, it would be halfway between the two materials. So every 0.1 second, it will, because I is getting incremented, it will change the value between the two, and it'll kind of just transition between the two materials, and it'll be really cool. So then we just need to call this IEnumerator from this after it's done changing this. So we'll just do start coroutine and change to frozen, just like this. So now when we run it, if you press F, it will freeze the character. Oh, that's way too much fucking smoke. So you didn't get a chance to see, oh, and it's repeating as well. Okay, let me just turn that off. This is too big. Let me just turn this way down. Let me just make it 1 again. That's gonna be better for now. Just for like, well, this is just for show. Like you could make you could mess with this particle system as much as you want. So just turn the looping off, and then you could turn the number up if you want or something like that. It doesn't matter. The flashiness of the different material illuminates all of the smoke, and that's why it got so bright so quickly. So let's just try this again. Okay, and you could also make this over a longer period of time just by changing the numbers in the thing. So instead of doing this like every 0.1 second, you could do it every 0.5 seconds or something. And then just, you could lower this number as well if you wanted it to be happening like, instead of doing it like this, you could change this to 0.01. That way it takes longer to get to the final result. Let's see if that makes any difference. Hang on. Yeah, you can see it just finished then. You can make it even longer to make it more like pronounced. So just do 0.2 instead. That will make it way, way longer because it's double the iteration time. So see how she's just kind of slowly turning from one material to the other, and she's just kind of freezing. That's fucking awesome. Okay, so the next step is we need to make them explode into spheres. So in my game, I do this when I throw a grenade at her, but I'm not going to be showing you how to make grenades in this video. It's going to take way too long. So we're just going to make another button for this. So if you press G. Okay, so now we need a destroyed version or a object that's going to be instantiated. So I've made an object for this already. It's a particle system and it's a bunch of rocks essentially. So let me see if I have that. Okay, so what this is it's just, so you could use, I'm using a rock that I made, and I've made this several times in my previous tutorials. So if you want to make a rock for this, it's totally okay. This particle system, basically the renderer is a mesh, and the mesh is a sphere for a rock that I'm using in my game. So you see these rocks inside of my game here? I basically just turned this, I used this in a particle system. So like these rocks that I already have in my game, I've used this in the particle system. If you watch my other video where I create a boss room, it's like a green boss room with like a green kind of gas going around. I show how to make a rock in that video, so I'm not going to show you how to make a rock because again, this video is just going to be too long. But basically, these are the settings, so make sure you have it on world. These are the settings, you could copy them. The emission is going to be 300. You can make this lower if your computer sucks, so if it lags really bad, you could just make this lower. For the shape, I just made it a sphere. It makes more sense to do it like this, so it just goes in a sphere. Make sure you turn gravity on. So I only have it at 0.3 though. And then I put rotation by speed on, so when the rocks hit the ground, they kind of rotate a little bit. So instead of them all just be looking the same direction as they hit the ground, they rotate slightly. This actually makes a big difference if you don't have this on. Collides with the world. Make sure you turn dampen. You can make it 0.3 or 0.4. Only collides with the floor, and like you have to choose what it collides with, so it can't collide with your object that you have, so make sure it's not on the same layer. So like if your object is on the default layer, make sure it doesn't collide with the object or else it will look bad, and make sure you change this to world. And then in the render, like I said, you use a mesh, which you could just use a normal sphere if you want, or you could use a cube. Cubes are fine for this. If you change this to a cube, it looks okay as well. I made a rock, and that's what I'm using in mine, but you could use whatever you want to. And then you could just use the same ice material. So like the same material that we're using to freeze them or whatever, you can just drag this right into this material slot and use the same material. And then that's about it. So then after you're done that, you need to drag this particle system into here. So it would be the death particle system. So let's see this, and then we can drag this into the death PS, and then we can just delete this from here. Let me just make sure that it got rid of it. So you can drag that into the bottom area somewhere, and then if you go find it, you can drag it into this slot. Like make a prefab out of it by dragging it into the bottom, and then drag the prefab into this slot. So then we just want to play this when she dies, so we just need to instantiate it. So hang on, let's do that. So we're instantiating the death PS. So when you instantiate this, because it has play on awake, it will just play immediately. So you don't need to do anything else. So we'll just leave. You don't need to worry about this bottom code for now. And make sure you destroy it. Yeah, after like 5 seconds, you can destroy it and it will disappear or whatever. That way they're not just bouncing around forever. So let's try this again. So you can press F to freeze her. And then when she's done, you can make this shorter if you want to. This is taking a long time. But when she's done like completely freezing or whatever, you can press G. And oh, G is grenade in my game, so that messed up. So let's change this to H, because I already have G for grenade in my game. And then the other thing we need to do is we need to destroy the game object. So after you're done instantiating this, just call destroy on the game object. This will destroy the object that you're attached to. That way she disappears when the particle system is playing. So it looks like she like dissolves into that. So let's do that. So you freeze with F, and then we'll just wait a little bit and we'll press G. Or sorry, not G, H. Okay, so you can see with this code, you can blow up your character into little ice pieces. This is really, really cool. This is like a high quality, like if you were to look at this game and compare it to like a modern game, it looks almost identical. Like you won't find like stuff too much better than this. Obviously I could put a puddle on the ground or something like that to make it a little bit better, but I don't think it really matters. So then the very last thing was adding the staff. So I just took her staff out of her hand. Now if you don't have a staff asset, then that's fine, but I made a copy of it and I instantiated it. So let me just show you that. Hang on. So serialized field, game object, staff. So now you don't be using the same object as me. So, but this is if you've made your own model and it has a weapon in its hand, you can separate the staff or whatever it is into a game object and just drag it into the thing as well. And then all you have to do is instantiate it the same way you do anything, right? And then attached to the staff, I obviously have a collider and a rigid body, and there's some code for my character to pick it up. So I'll show you the code to pick it up as well. So on my controller collider hit, if the collider name contains the staff's name, it does this stuff. So it pops up this text that says basically what it is that you've picked up and some clever little quote. And then I invoke to clear the pop-up, so that pop-up panel disappears after 3 seconds. Then I play the animation for my character picking it up. I pause the movement, which is like a static variable, which you're not going to have probably in your game, but it basically just makes my character unable to move. My character rotates towards the camera, and then it adds this item effect to my character. And then basically in this add item effect, all I do is my character has this staff already attached to them. So they already have a copy of this staff attached to them. This just enables it essentially in his hand, and it disables the one that he's holding. So that's how that's working. So let me show you. Hopefully this will work on the first try because this video is already really long. So let's see. Okay, so we press F to freeze them. Oh shit, I'm gonna blow myself up. And then after she's finally done freezing, you press H. She blows up into ice particles, she drops her staff, and then you can pick it up like this. So that's going to be it for the day. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't really have a lot of subscribers. So if you see something in the video that you like and you want it explained how to do it or anything like that, you can definitely just leave a comment and I'll definitely do it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.